The Packers just got a gift from the NFL. The NFL just handed the Packers something fans can barely believe. And no, it's not a superstar trade. It's not a massive free agent signing. It's something even more important. The schedule. Because the second the 2026 schedule dropped, Packers fans all started noticing the same thing. This path is wide open. Seriously, look at how perfectly this season lines up for Green Bay. Very little travel, no international distractions, cold weather home games late in the season, and somehow huge rivalry matchups placed at the perfect times. That's not normal. Most teams get brutal stretches that destroy momentum. But Green Bay? The NFL may have accidentally created the perfect playoff setup. And the scary part? This roster might actually be ready to take advantage of it. Young talent, more depth, bigger expectations, and a fan base already believing this could become a special season. But don't get too comfortable yet, because the opening weeks are hiding a dangerous trap nobody's talking about. Because the Packers' first month could either build a Super Bowl contender or expose major problems immediately. At first glance, the Packers' schedule looks easy. But the beginning of the season? That's where things get dangerous. 2 straight road games to open the year. Division pressure immediately, then a brutal short-week turnaround. That's how good teams accidentally fall apart early. Because rhythm matters in football. Confidence matters. And if Green Bay starts slow, suddenly the media pressure becomes insane. But here's why fans are still excited. Even the difficult games are landing in favorable spots. The Thursday night home opener, huge energy advantage. Extra rest after primetime, massive help. And once the Packers survive those early road tests, the entire season starts opening up. But there's one game sitting in the middle of all this that fans have already circled in red. And honestly, emotional turning point of the entire year. It might become the because. When the Bears come to Lambeau, things could get personal fast. This is the matchup fans wanted most. Packers. Bears. Lambeau Field. And the timing couldn't be better. Because by week 5, Green Bay should finally start getting healthier, more confident, and more dangerous. And if that happens, Chicago could walk straight into a nightmare. Last season changed the energy of this rivalry. Injuries hurt Green Bay badly. The Bears gained confidence. And suddenly people started asking questions nobody in Wisconsin wanted to hear. Is the rivalry shifting? But Packers fans haven't forgotten, not even close. This game feels like revenge. The crowd will be loud. The emotions will be high. And if Green Bay enters this game undefeated or close to it, Lambeau might completely explode. But the NFL didn't stop there. Because right after this rivalry war, the Packers walked directly into one of the biggest spotlight games of the entire season. And what happens next could change how the entire NFL views Green Bay. This is where things become real. Sunday Night Football. National audience. Dallas Cowboys. Lambeau Field. These are the games where contenders are born. Because beating weak teams is one thing, but winning under the brightest lights? That changes everything. Every throw matters more. Every mistake gets replayed everywhere. And every big play suddenly becomes part of the national conversation. But honestly, this setup feels dangerous for Dallas. Because Lambeau at night is different. The energy feels heavier. The crowd gets louder. Momentum changes instantly. And if Green Bay wins this game convincingly, the hype around this team might become uncontrollable. Suddenly analysts start talking playoffs. Suddenly fans start whispering Super Bowl. Suddenly nobody wants to face them in January. But before Packers fans get too excited, the hardest stretch of the season is quietly approaching. Because one division rival could completely ruin Green Bay's momentum, everybody focuses on the flashy games. But real NFL fans know division road games are where seasons collapse. And Detroit could be the biggest trap on the schedule. Because division games are chaos, records stop mattering, statistics disappear, and emotions take over. The Lions know Green Bay wants the NFC North back, and they would love to ruin the Packers' momentum completely, especially if Green Bay enters this matchup hot. But here's what makes this stretch scary: physical games, short recovery time, constant pressure. This is where injuries happen. This is where fatigue builds. This is where teams get exposed. But somehow, after this brutal section of the schedule, everything suddenly starts swinging back in Green Bay's favor. And that's when fans realize the NFL may have accidentally helped the Packers big time. Because the Thanksgiving week game might become one of the biggest matchups of the entire NFL season. The NFL has never done this before. A Thanksgiving Eve game. Wednesday night. Massive audience. Packers versus Rams, and instantly, this became one of the most talked about games on the entire schedule. Because this doesn't feel like a random regular season matchup, it feels cinematic. Big market atmosphere, playoff implications, two NFC teams trying to prove they belong among the elite. And the craziest part? Packers fans are probably going to take over the stadium anyway. That always happens in LA. But this game is dangerous. Short week prep, travel pressure, national spotlight. One bad performance here, and critics will attack immediately. But one big win? That changes everything. Because if Green Bay wins on this stage, people won't just call them good. They'll start calling them contenders. And after this game, the schedule becomes very interesting. Because the NFL may have secretly handed Green Bay the biggest late-season advantage in football, this is where the schedule starts feeling unfair. Late in the season, Green Bay gets exactly what every contender dreams about: cold-weather home games. And not against random teams either. Warm-weather teams, fast offenses, quarterbacks who hate freezing conditions. That's a problem. Because Lambeau in December isn't normal football. It becomes survival. Hands freeze, routes slow down, mistakes multiply, and suddenly the Packers gain a huge physical advantage. Miami, coming into freezing weather? Dangerous. Houston in brutal cold? Even worse. Fans already know what happens when teams from warm cities enter Lambeau late in the year. Everything changes. And if Green Bay stays healthy until this point, the Packers could go on a serious run. But there's one matchup sitting near the end of the season that feels almost too perfect for the NFL, because Packers versus Bears on Christmas Day might become absolute chaos. You honestly couldn't create a better NFL script than this. Packers, Bears, Christmas Day, historic rivalry, national spotlight, and playoff pressure everywhere. This game is going to feel emotional from the first snap. Families watching together, fans screaming at TVs, and two rivals trying to destroy each other during one of the biggest football days of the year. But by this point in the season, the stakes could become massive. Division standings, playoff seeding, pride, everything collides here. And games like this stop being about talent alone. Emotion takes over, momentum swings harder, big plays feel bigger, and Lambeau's atmosphere could become completely insane. But while everyone focuses on the rivalry, another massive challenge is quietly waiting at the end of the schedule, because the final weeks could decide whether Green Bay becomes a true contender or another disappointing playoff story. This is where championship teams separate themselves. Late season pressure, national attention, playoff calculations everywhere, and absolutely no room for mistakes. Because by the end of the year, every game feels like a playoff game already. The media starts analyzing everything. Fans start predicting seedings. And suddenly, every throw feels more important. But honestly, this schedule is setting up perfectly for Green Bay to peak at the right time. That's what makes this dangerous for the rest of the NFC. Young teams usually collapse late. But the Packers? They could actually be getting stronger. Especially if the defense improves. Especially if the offense finds rhythm. Especially if the young stars take that next step. And quietly, The Packers front office has already started making moves that could matter later, because Green Bay just added players that nobody's paying attention to yet, but one surprise breakout could change everything. While everyone focused on the schedule, Green Bay kept working quietly behind the scenes. And honestly, some of these moves could become way more important than fans realize. The Packers finally handled their rookie contract situation. That matters, because contract drama before training camp can destroy momentum fast. Instead, Green Bay handled business early and kept focus on football. That's a good sign. But the more interesting moves came after: underrated additions, cheap signings, players with something to prove. And every NFL season, those are the guys who surprise everyone. One new name already getting attention? The son of a football legend. Massive expectations, huge family legacy. And now a fresh opportunity in Green Bay. Will it work? Nobody knows yet. But sometimes players just need the right system and the right opportunity. And if even one of these additions becomes a breakout player, the Packers suddenly become deeper, tougher, and much more dangerous heading into the playoffs. Which brings us back to the biggest question of all. Did the NFL accidentally hand Green Bay the perfect path to make a serious run this season? Because if this team starts fast, the hype around the Packers could completely explode by mid-season.